Zeus plays a role in many famous myths, many of which center on his tendency to disguise his appearance and seduce just about every kind of being and creature, from gods and demigods to mortals and animals. And sometimes he'd even disguise himself as an animal to woo a person. Don't kink shame. In one particularly nasty myth, Zeus admired a human woman named Leda from afar. Zeus transformed himself into a swan and proceeded to either seduce or attack Leda, depending on the version of the myth you read. Because she was also married to her human husband, Spartan king Tyndareus, Leda somehow became double pregnant, because we really didn't understand reproductive biology at the time. Hence this elaborate story involving a shape-shifting swan. Leda gave birth to both Zeus's children, Helen and Polydeuces, along with Tyndareus' offspring, Castor and Clytemnestra. 4 kids. That's like twins times 2, or triplets plus 1. That's just going to make for some mighty expensive birthdays. Just think of how much they had to spend on party clowns alone. In some versions of the story, Leda laid an actual egg from which Zeus's daughter Helen hatched. And this is actually the same Helen who goes on to become Helen of Troy, whose beauty inspired the love triangle that started the Trojan War. Sadly, Homer's Iliad doesn't mention whether she knew she was half swan. No! Zeus, the king of gods, takes on a supporting role in the story of Ixion, the king of an ancient tribe known as the Lapiths. After Ixion's father-in-law stole some of his horses, Ixion threw him into a bed of burning coals and wood. This is often considered the first act of kinslaying in Greek mythology, and led Ixion's own people to shun him, forcing him to live as an outlaw. At least he didn't flinch while flipping a water bottle. Zeus took pity on Ixion and brought him to stay in Mount Olympus. But rather than being grateful to old Thunderbolts for saving his life, Ixion immediately began pining over Zeus's wife, Hera. Zeus responded by making a Hera-shaped cloud, and convinced Ixion to sleep with the cloud lady instead of the real thing, which does sound like a good plan. Wait, no it doesn't, but it does sound like a plan.